Trees in Dry Cities Coalition was officially inaugurated at COP28 at the Climate COP 2 years back. And since then, we have held 4 operational meetings into 2024, where together with members, we have been identifying key priorities leading to the development of a collective action plan. And this plan is now in its implementation with its activities. And the water webinar series is one of those activities. Our first water-focused webinar last November brought together Cape Town, Madrid, and Mexico City, together with Denver, which is co-leading the efforts. And those local governments have been sharing the valuable practices on managing water in for urban trees under stress. So today we continue the conversation, spotlighting Cuenca in Ecuador, Ouagadougou in Burkina Faso. Apologies, it's not so easy to name it, and innovative restoration work for the Stockholm International Water Institute. So with these exchanges, we'll be exploring how cities are not only adapting, but also leading on nature-based solutions, even in the most challenging environments. And with that, I give the floor to Denver Cities, that is co-leading the water webinar series with us, and then to my colleague Daniel Griswold, who will give highlights on the outcomes of the previous water webinar that we had last November. Cole, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Stefania. I wanted to thank everyone for coming today. I'm excited to have our second webinar series with the coalition and the first one for this year. I'm hoping that we can have many more and have a useful dialogue between all of us. I think that one of our greatest strengths, having a coalition that spans the breadth of the entire world, is being able to bring in our shared and lived experiences from all different levels, whether it be from a municipality like myself all the way up to a NGO working on an international level. I think we all have something to contribute. One of the things that I'm hopeful for this series is to be able to bring in not only our successes, but our failures, to be able to work through things that, like for Denver, what we had spoken about previously, where we had 9 failures dealing with salinity on our water and 1 potential success, and we'll be updating as that occurs. To be able to have where Denver has a high funding amount on a global level, to be able to provide, here's 9 things to not do, here's 1 thing that will actually work, and save as many municipalities as possible that are working on our scale with our type of issue, time and funding. And potentially inspire ideas that work at a larger level, work at a national level or an international level. And I think that's the point of this series that we have. So I'm incredibly excited to see our speakers today, and I'm hopeful to see some of you who are attending today potentially be speakers either later in this year or in the following years. Thank you so much, and I will turn it over to Stefania, Daniel, and our presenters for today.
Thank you, Cole. So inspirations to exchange, that's what we hope for today and for the way forward. Daniel, last webinar, we got those interesting experiences from Madrid, Mexico City, and Cape Town, and Denver, of course. We will be posting the key outcomes, the good practices on our website, but here my colleague will come in and let you know a little bit how we have been working it out.
Thank you so much, Stefania, and good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone. It's great to see you here. I know we have a lot of people who want to join the webinar, and we'll probably be seeing also the recording if the timing didn't work out. So please also, I want to encourage you to reach out afterwards if you see the recording. And special thanks to Cole for, as Stefania said, for organizing everything with us for this webinar series. And we're really, really glad to have so many people from so many different parts of the world coming together to exchange experience. And I think that's something that we saw the value of on our last webinar as a coalition. I'll go through in a second a little bit a summary of what we talked about, but first I wanted to just take the spirit. There's so many cities that face similar challenges and are experimenting with solutions to have thriving urban forests despite changing rainfall patterns, increasing water scarcity, for example, or challenging climate. So we really want this meeting today. It's not about a single solution. It's also about building those connections by seeing who's facing the same challenges and what they're trying to do for solutions, and also spurring that follow-on collaboration. Now, we had some great ideas that came on our first webinar, and different good practices in water management for urban forest sustainability. We heard first from Cape Town, which I think a lot of us heard about as they had the countdown to day 0 of not having enough water a few years ago. So that was quite an interesting presentation. And they talked about a lot of really a range of effective strategies, which shows how complex really it is to manage across all the different relevant dimensions. They talked about species selection, tree size, planting density, watering techniques to encourage root systems that could be more resilient in their climate, mulching, weed control, automated irrigation, when's the best time to plant. A lot of this seems quite simple, but I think that's where we really see the value of the peer exchange is once you start looking at any of those categories, there's a lot of different challenges, and that's where there's a lot of different tactics and techniques that cities can learn from each other. We heard from Mexico City as well, for example, focusing a lot on rainwater harvesting, working with the community. We know that urban forests, a lot of them are not on public land. Institutional collaboration, because even on the public land, there's different institutions that are responsible in touching trees in many cities. And so they also showed a focus on looking at ecological corridors, on monitoring, on citizen participation, and linking to biodiversity strategies. And they did say, for example, that they are looking at hardy non-native plant species that can withstand the city's climate. So it's kind of a mix of looking at how do we conserve our biodiversity, but also how do we ensure that our urban forest is also resilient under a changing climate. Denver, so Cole's here with us now, highlighted a lot of different interesting solutions. So in terms of using liquid biochar for soil as an aggregate, flood irrigation to reduce salt exposure in conifer trees, mycorrhizae and mulch to help mitigate the salt damage, because obviously you have the salt on the roads in the winters there, for example. Magnetic irrigation devices, also looking at salt levels, bubbler irrigation, also looking at salt exposure, and strategic planting. So which species to put near roads to reduce salt runoff. So a lot of really interesting solutions to managing that challenge that they're facing in particular. And I know from past conversations with Cole that this is just one of many challenges that Denver is working to address. Madrid, they highlighted that they have a high water demand and how they're working on efficiency in water management. So they even have an efficient water management and use ordinance. They have a water demand management plan, and they're looking at alternative water sources, so wastewater, underground water extraction. And they have a lot of focus on climate change adaptation, as many cities these days do. So sustainable urban drainage systems. We know that the urban forest is also really linked to a lot of the blue-green infrastructure. So storm ponds. For green infrastructure, they highlighted the Madrid Metropolitan Forest. which is also used as a floodable area, which can also contribute to the water cycle. And of course, they focused a lot on urban cooling, the benefits of trees for urban cooling. So really interesting presentations. I think we'll hear more interesting presentations today, so we're really looking forward to that. And please stay tuned as we share these takeaways after our event. Thanks.
Thank you, Daniel. Fil rouge from Mexico City to Cuenca and to Burkina Faso. So we continue the challenge. That's the agenda for today. Here is the flow. We will begin with Cuenca in Ecuador, their experience, followed by insights from Burkina Faso and the Stockholm International Water Institute. After each segment, we came up with the idea that we might be posing for quick reflection from the audience, and then we will close with an interactive dialogue and look at what's next for the coalition. And with that, I give the floor to Cuenca. I had the pleasure to be in Cuenca last January at the World Forum of Secondary Cities, and I have seen myself how the city is really being resilient to the increasing droughts and rainfall. I have been going myself to an on-site inspection, technical visit to Etapa, which is a public utility company there, and I have been witnessing myself how they've been working all over the years collectively with the citizens for the best solutions. So very happy to be sharing their good practices with us. And I think that the first speaker is Nelson Diaz. I stopped sharing my slides so that he can come in and start his presentation.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Nelson Diaz Vidal. I'm a Portuguese landscape architect, and I have the honor to be the head of Urban Green Spaces Department here in Cuenca. Today, I try to share with you our journey to building a resilience through urban forestry under the project 1 million trees and plants for a resilient Cuenca. Cuenca is a city in Ecuador. We have almost 600,000 inhabitants here in Cuenca. 63% of population lives in urban area. And we are the third most important city here in Ecuador in terms of contribution to national GDP. Like many cities across the globe, Cuenca experiences the harsh impact of climate change. We have some problems. We have a prolonged drought of over 150 days, alternate with intense, something devastating rains. We are seeing change in water quality, rising temperatures, and frequent extreme events too. These phenomena not only in our environment, but also in public health, livelihoods, and urban stability too. In this context, Cuenca resilience is more than a concept. It's a necessity. And for us, the foundation of resilience lies in Cuenca green infrastructure. So Cuenca green infrastructure isn't just about planting trees. Yeah? It's about restoring ecological balance, providing thermal regulation, conserving biodiversity, and about quality of life. especially for vulnerable populations here in Cuenca, like our kids, our old people, our pregnant women, and every population we have here in Cuenca. No? Our strategy is rooted in inclusiveness. We work in both urban and rural settings. We are removing impervious surface, introducing climate adapted gardens, and we are creating green corridors that reconnect fragmented landscapes. Here in Cuenca, we have 4 corridors in the rivers of Cuenca, and we are working with these corridors and connect to every parks in the city along the avenues, the pathways. The next slide about key project actions. Our key actions are grouped in 3 pillars. 1, urban reforestation. We plant native and climate resilient species, often removing asphalt or concrete to restore green permeability. Climate gardening. We are introducing green gardens and xerophytic plants suited for local water regimes. And the third, community engagement. Through Living Footprints program, we have partnered with over 20 schools, creating a generation of young environment stewards. This is so important for us to work with schools here in Cuenca. But also we are not doing this alone. Our initiative released the strong partnerships with public and private and civil society sectors working together for a common goal. Now here in Cuenca, we have planted over 300,000 trees and plants. That's so important for the biodiversity of Cuenca. We have planted river corridors, pathways, avenues, urban parks, and we are continuing this project to 1 million plants for the city. We are preparing now for a expanded phase with new climate garden studies underway. And we are working in monitoring systems for plant surviving and maintenance too. For example, this is some examples of plants we are planting here in Cuenca. Some are native plants, some are exotic plants, but adapted to climate change here in Cuenca. And we are working in some projects to thinking that Cuenca in future will be a dry city. So we have to think how to manage the water in our green spaces. This is some examples about some projects we are working, and we could see these gardens maybe in 5 or 6 months here in Cuenca. Another thing we are doing is that we do monitoring and evaluation of every plant we put in our green spaces. This is so important because we need to know how to do the maintenance, and if plants needs to be replaced too. And we have a system here in Cuenca that we are seeing every day to know what to do with our green spaces. And to summarize, our project aims to mitigate climate change impact in Cuenca with green urban infrastructure, includes massive native species planting and replaced for exotic trees. We are implementing urban community reforestation, climate gardening, and education. This is the key for this project, and we are focused on long-term sustainability and resilience. So let me pass this presentation to my colleague Rigoberto from Etapa company. This is a public company here in Cuenca.
Thank you so much, Nelson. Great to hear, all the restoring ecological balance strategies that you're implementing, not only planting trees, and the inclusiveness that you adopt with kids, schools, old people, and pregnant women. It's great to hear this inclusivity, and great now to hear about Etapa and Rigoberto Guerrero.
Good morning, everybody. Can you tell me if you can see the presentation?
We can see the presentation.
Good. Well, all the strategies that EMAC implemented responds to consequences or to causes of the climate change. So, Etapa monitoring since 1998, the consequences and the changes in the climate here in the city, in water quality and in meteorological variables. So, as you can see, globally, the temperature has increased to record levels, and in the last year, in 2024, we had the highest and the largest drought in South America. As you can hear, the Amazon was very dry, and this caused a drought also in Cuenca. A moment, please. Okay. So here you have some of the consequences of this drought, and also floods that in the next months occurred. So in November 10, 2023, we have a drought of more than 100 days. In May, we have a big flood caused by extreme events of rain, and again in September we had the largest drought in the history of the city, almost 150 days. Additionally, these floods have caused inundations of some places and streets in the city. That's because EMAC work in become these areas less impermeables, and to make the water to drain here in the soil. Additionally, Etapa monitoring all the climate in the city, distributed in stations, and we can use this data to make information to share to the community, and the community are more in knowledge about what is happened in the city. For example, if we have this street with a flood, community can go to the maps that we share daily and realize why this flood occurring. That is because here we had a big rain. Additionally, impact of the climate change in the city is the water quality. The water quality is becoming behind the threshold of good. That's because the droughts have concentrate nutrients and concentrate pollutants in the water. Here we have the monitoring, the history of the monitoring of water quality, and as you can see, in these places we have cattle. So we plant this biofilter, which contains or which retain the contaminants and the pollutants like nitrogen coming from the cattle. So as you can see here, because of the cattle, the water quality is decreasing, but after this barrier grow, the water quality was improved because of here the contaminants are retained. But due to climate change and the concentration of pollutants because of the diminution of runoff, the contaminants are concentrated again and the water quality get worse. So the problem is that the climate change now is not only in our hands to stop it, but the factors that are altering, in this case, the water quality of Cuenca, are external, so are out of our control. But some strategies that, like the implemented by EMAC in urban areas, can help in some cases to diminish the heat waves, for example, in the city. So that was some of the consequences of the climate change that we have in our city, and some challenges that we are facing now in Cuenca. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rigoberto. Great to hear that solutions might exist. You are experimenting, implementing, and taking some, benefits out of it. Of course, the alternation of droughts and floods is quite an issue, and it's increasingly a challenge for more and more cities in the world. But great to hear about, your experiments that most likely and hopefully will be serving for other local governments as well. And with that, I will leave the questions for later. I think that would be the best way. And I would give the floor to SIWI, the Stockholm International Water Institute, James Ledden. He will present the locally controlled forest restoration model, which is a governance in market-oriented strategy that brings forest and water solutions closer to communities. James, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good night. I don't know from where you are all calling in. My name is James Letten from SIWI, the Stockholm International Water Institute. Some of you might know the World Water Week in Stockholm. That is one of the major events that we organize, but we also do a lot of development projects. And one of them is LoCoFoRest. My presentation will be very short because the hero of Burkina Faso here will be Moise. He will join me after this presentation because he will present the green belt green belt reforestation around Ouagadougou, the capital of Burkina Faso in sub-Saharan Africa. And that project is a result from LoCoFoRest. LoCoFoRest is a training project with mentorship, and so one of those projects is this green belt in Ouagadougou. So let's go into the presentation. First of all, yes, just a reminder about the status of our global forest and landscape, because that is the background on which LoCoFoRest is based. It's really this understanding that there is only 15% of the forests that are intact and that all the rests are like or fragmented or degraded or clearly deforested. So in terms of reforestation, if you translate that into reforestation opportunities, you see on the right side the amount of million of hectares that are like reforestation opportunities. But so it is really this reforestation, restoring ecosystem services that is the main objective of LoCoFoRest. LoCoFoRest, what does it stand for? It is locally controlled forest restoration. And the main question here, and LoCoFoRest is an international training program. So what we do is really training individuals in forest restoration. But the main question that we have is, how can we scale up restoration forest landscape? While in the meantime, of course, also securing the prosperity of local communities and maintaining or even improving the ecosystem services. So it is this combination of scaling up, securing prosperity of local communities and ecosystems and restoring ecosystem services that are important for LoCoFoRest. This is a partnership of 3 partners. Me, I'm coming from SIWI, the Stockholm International Water Institute. But we are partnering with the Swedish Forest Agency. It's a public authority in Sweden here in charge of forest policy implementation, and also an Eco-Innovation Foundation, which is a non-for-profit foundation that supports smallholder timber and wood enterprises or entrepreneurs that are engaged also in forest restoration. Just to highlight who are the partners of this training program. The main idea of LoCoFoRest is to have like young professionals from forest and landscape restoration that can come from the private sector, civil society, on governments, to train them and to become agents of change. And so they, as trained agents of change, we coach them in driving a change project. And the Burkina Faso case is one of those change projects. But the innovation of LoCoFoRest is that it is based on entrepreneurship. It is based on value markets and value change around timber or non-timber products. It has the ambition, of course, to restore ecosystem services, but we also include the governance of land, governance of water, and also what is the impact of the change project on gender and human rights. So it is really about building this institutional understanding of the key aspects of forest and landscape restoration. So they are trained into the methodologies to enter in dialogue with the stakeholders to develop this change project. So the results of LoCoFoRest are change projects that have a vision that has been discussed with stakeholders and that have a roadmap to be rolled out for implementation. So you understand that the driving force of LoCoFoRest change projects is really the market of timber and non-timber products. And so what we ask the trainees, the change agents, is to identify a value chain that provide financial resources. So it's really or selling a service or selling a product that is timber based or non-timber based product, but to explore the potentiality to exploit that value chain. They then explore the enabling environment. What are the enabling environment for this value chain? And so that complements that total understanding allows them to implement this their change project. In short, well, this is a project that is now reaching its end. It will probably be extended. We don't know, because this is funded by SIDA, the Swedish International Development Aid. We have had like 7 program rounds, several countries, many participants, and also a network of alumni. And so it was my honor, my pleasure also to be so when the change agents are trained in the methodology, they go back home and roll out the methodology, and the LoCoFoRest also, we provide mentorship of the change agents trying to develop their change program. And so the Burkina Faso project was one of those change projects, and I was honored to coach this project for I coached Moïse Nyon. He will follow this presentation, and then also the follow-up because there was another participants following up on Nyon for this. But I think here I will give the floor to Nyon for his presentation. So Nyon, if you can share your presentation, so that Nyon is calling from Burkina Faso.
Okay. So good morning, good evening, everyone. So thank you to Mentor James, and bonsoir à tout le monde. Good evening to everyone. So I hope that each of you are doing very well. So I'm pleased this evening to take part to this webinar about thriving trees in dry ecosystems. So as Mentor James was meaning, I was a participant to LoCoFoRest program, 2 years ago, and now we are implementing a project on the green belt of Ouagadougou. So I'm really pleased to attend to this meeting and to share what we have already done with the other participants. Okay, next diapo. Okay, so I'm with Pierre Moses Nyon from the Ministry of Environment, Water and Sanitation of Burkina Faso. So I'm on DOTI at the Green Wall Initiatives, and I'm in charge of forest and wildlife sustainable management. So I'm pleased to attend this meeting. Next. Okay, so the Green Belt is a forest located in Africa, precisely in West Africa, and the country is Burkina, and the real location is at the center of the city of Ouagadougou. Next. To introduce, you can say that Burkina Faso is a landlocked country whose economy is heavily linked to primary sector. So this sector employs more than 85% of the population and contribute to about 40% to the gross domestic product. According to a recent study carried out by the Ministry in charge of Environment, Water and Sanitation, this sector combined to climate changes and population growth are the main drivers of land and forest degradation. So in this way, in about 20 years, so Burkina Faso lost about 8 million of hectares of forest. So next. So since 1970, the country is hit hard by harmful effect of climate changes, such as accelerated degradation of forest resources, warming rise of temperature. We also have floods, a shift in precipitation and in space and time, the loss of biodiversity, a decrease in agro-silvopastoral yield, an increase in food insecurity, and also poverty. So to reverse this end of forest and land degradation and protect also the city of Ouagadougou against harmful effect of climate changes, the government undertook the creation of the Green Belt. Next. So what is the Green Belt? The Green Belt is a circular forest with about 2,000 hectares of total area for 50 meters of width for 21 kilometers of length. So on this picture, you can see the different unit of land occupation and land use on this green belt. So as vegetation on the green belt, you can have shrub savannas, tree savannas, and also grass savannas, okay? As mean temperature, we have about 25 Celsius degree. As means maximum, we have about 33 Celsius degree. The means of rainfalls is around 569 millimeter a year. So different kind of soil you can find on the green belt are tropical ferruginous soil, soil with iron and manganese sesquiocytes. We also have lithosoils, salt sodium soils, and also hydromorphic soils. Next. Okay, so what is the problem with the green belt? So since the creation of the green belt in 1970, so everything was going all right. But nowadays, like most part of West African forests, the green belt is subject to degradation. And this degradation is concerning about 46% of its total area due to diverse kind of pressure, but also to harmful effect of climate changes. So here on the different picture, you can see the drivers of land degradation. The main drivers that are extensive agriculture, illegal settlement, excessive wood cutting, and also animal strays. Next. So to reverse this kind of forest degradation, we initiated a project with the support of SIWI, as Manto James was meaning, and this project aimed to improve ecosystem services and socio-economic resilience of Ouagadougou inhabitants through restoring the green belt in the context of climate changes. So it's important to remember that this project is based on a corporate social responsibility for the green belt restoration. So on this picture, you see the different members of our project team. So, next. Okay, so after 2 years of implementation, you can say that to implement this project, we managed to convince 3 companies to support us restoring the green belt, and we have currently been able to restore more than 28 hectares, so I have to correct it, of degraded land on the green belt. Yeah. So as achievement, we have 28 hectares of land that are already restored. We have more than 17,000 trees with 12 species already planted. We have more than 3,000 operators that are working on the restored site, and about 41,153 euros generate to support the effort of restoration. Next. Okay, so each project being an attempt to solve a problem, it's obvious that we'll face some difficulties. So the barriers we face during the implementation of our project are the inherent barrenness of soil and also the roughness of our climate, the insufficiency of water resources due to climate changes. We also have the poor agriculture and silviculture practices, the weak law implementation, and also the strong dependence on forest resources. We also have the difficulty to access to green fund in order to support the effort of restoration. We also have the low level of technical knowledge of the site operator. Yeah. Next. So in terms of perspectives, so we have in perspective to restore more than 1,050 hectares by 2030 for the improvement of the ecosystem services and local population socio-economical conditions. We also want to create more than 10,000 job opportunities for the local community. We also want to contribute to the sequestration of 44,000 ton of carbon by 2040, allowing to achieve the NDC commitment. So at long term, we want to transform the forest into a pole of socio-economical growth through agroforestry, horticulture, wild breeding, etc. Next. So now here I'm going to share with you some pictures of our project of restoration. So on this picture that I'm showing, the first one is about our first site we restore on the green belt, a site of 10 hectares. This is the site at the beginning of the project. Yeah, this is the site at the beginning. The site was like that. Okay, next. So here we have diverse activities of site preparation, such as fencing, drilling, and also plowing to prepare the site in order to implement the project. So this is the pilot site of 10 hectares. Next. So here we have the site launch ceremony that took place March 16, 2024. Here we have the ministry in charge of environment that came to support us this day. The next. So on this picture, you can see our first day of plantation. Yeah, our first day of plantation was the last year, was in March 16, 2024. So we mobilized more than 500 persons, yeah, around the green belt, considered like set operators that came with us for the restoration of this green belt. Next. So on this picture, this is material granting to the diverse site operator in order to support them, to support the effort of restoration, to help them doing agroforestry and also gardening. So each site operator receives some material to his what he's doing on the field. The next. So here, this is some image where I want to show this site at the beginning of the project and where we are now. So on the top picture, it's the site at the beginning of the restoration, and after 1 year of project implementation. So we have the above picture below. So you see that the difference in terms of restoration is enough clear. So what we did in about 1 year of restoration on the site is already amazing. Yeah. Next. Okay, so here we have some products that come from the site. As Mentor James specified in his presentation, the LoCoFoRest approach is based on the market approach. So to interest more the site operator to stay on this perimeter and to work, so the site need to generate some incomes for these people. So that's why we add gardening to our project, and this is some product already available on the site. So this product can be salads, tomatoes, cucumbers, and onions, and also non-timber forest product like baobab and moringas leaves. Next. Okay, so this is a picture that I take on the project site the last week. Yeah, so I want to share this picture with you and say that everything is possible. It's possible to restore. Yeah. Next. So I think that I'm at the end of what I got to share with you this morning, and this is my contact information and your eventual question of comprehension and also contribution to improve our project idea are the welcome. So thanks to everyone. Thanks.
Merci beaucoup, Nyon. It's great to see those colorful pictures and work on the ground, hands off. This is something that we, from our side, very often behind our laptop are missing. But then when we see that there is results, there is solutions, that makes us, you know, hope that our work somehow in the end does work, in fact. And as of the presentation of James, I would say that we should change climate change with agents of change, as you were mentioning. And I can see that this relationship mentor alumni is that the bond that it creates bears its fruits and results. Great. I think we can move to the next step, which is the interactive dialogue. I have seen some questions in the chat. Oh, and first of all, there is the one hand raised. Okay, let's go with Catherine. Shortly introduce yourself and then come up with a question, please.
Thank you. I'm Catherine Ekutoziem. I'm a PhD student at the University of Oldenburg, Germany, in plant biodiversity and evolution. Thank you for this wonderful presentation. It's good to learn about real-life applications of ecological restoration in dry climates like Burkina Faso. I come from Nigeria, and I'm quite interested because Nigeria is also plagued with dry climates in the desert regions of northern Nigeria. I would like to know how long it took for the trees to grow in the greenbelt region and what species were used. How did you carry out irrigation because it's a dry climate? Were there dams constructed in the site? And do you intend to include more trees in the future? Because I see some areas do not have more trees like the rest. Thank you.
So I think the question is for you, Nyon.
So can I answer directly to the question whether can I answer directly?
Please go ahead.
Okay. So thank you for this this question. So about the trees, the project starts the last year. Okay. So all the trees we have seen on the picture just take only 1 year to grow like that, because we don't use small trees. Yeah. So the trees we are using to restore our site are already enough big, yeah, to resist to harmful effect of climate changes. Okay. So that's why you see on the picture that the trees are already in a certain size. So we use big trees already with about half a meter to 1 meter of height already on this side. So when you use this kind of trees, the restoration is going fast. Yeah. So if you go on the site and you come back, 2 or 3 years later, so you may say that it's not really the same site. Yeah. So concerning the kind of species, so like Mentor James means our site need to provide some incomes for the site operator that are the local populations that are living around the green belt. So because of that, we use some trees that provide quickly non-timber forest product for the local populations. And these trees are mainly composed with baobabs and moringas. So after 2 weeks of plantations, so the population can already use the leaves of these trees combined to gardening products to generate some incomes. So In this way, the restoration is interesting and it is attractive for the operator to come and work on our site. So while they are spriting leaves and also vegetables, they also take care of the diverse tree we plant on this belt. So I think the last question was about the water issue. How do we deal with water issue? So to implement this kind of project, in our case, we use the groundwater. Yeah, we need groundwater because we are a bit far from a lake or a barrage, so it will be difficult to count on surface water for this restoration. So we dig about 2 or 3 drillings, and the water for the restoration is coming from this drilling for gardenings and also for taking care of the diverse kind of trees we plant on the site. Yeah. So I think I give the response to your question. If
does it answer your question? I think so, and I think we will be integrating those.
Okay, all right.
Those strategies tools in our next good practices document. I can see Musa Sule raising the hand. Please come in and introduce yourself. Musa, can you hear us?
Yes. Me?
You have a question? Your hand is raised.
Are you hearing me?
We can hear you.
Just I want to thank all presenters and especially the last one. And at this point, I want to highlight the importance role of the urban and pre-urban forestry and throughout the forest in low forest cover country, because this is very important issue. We need to highlight it in all such a webinar and all these such meetings. And so if we try to find genetically and ecologically important species to be adapted to this such a climate, this is very important issue. And we need to support them, all the low forest cover countries, to highlight this important issue to their local community, because we do not need just to go through the international or other global meeting. Just we need to highlight this importance in regional and local and even national level. So by this experiment which you presented here in Burkina Faso or other countries, we need to highlight and share these experiences to other local community. And then we have chance to highlight this important role of the forest and pre-urban forestry for mitigation. Mitigation, unfortunately, forestry have role. I am doing this as a lead author of IPCC because I've been in working group 3 as a AFOLU. So this is very important to have important role of the forest in mitigation. At the moment,
yeah, no, absolutely, Mustafa. Thanks for this, for highlighting it and bringing it up. And that's exactly what we are trying to be doing. Also setting up this peer exchanges, as you are saying, to have the best practice, good practices exchange between different local governments. Thanks for that. We take the note
Grazie, Stefania.
Consideration. Prego, grazie a te. I could see that there were some questions in the chat, though, from Adrian Cabezas, if he's still with us. Adrian, are you still with us? Because his question was to Nelson, and was he wanted to have more information about the corridor in Cuenca.
Yes, I have. Sorry, Stefania. So I am Adrian Cabezas. I'm working now for the Barcelona City Council. And as you know, we have the same problem with the climate change challenges and drought condition, but now runoff and so. And I have two questions for Cuenca. The first one is more related to can I have more information about the green corridor in Cuenca? This is the first one. And the second one is that he spoke about the monitoring of trees, and I will know exactly what kind of monitoring are now they doing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Adrian, for your questions about corridors in Cuenca. Cuenca have 4 rivers across the city. So we have 4 amazing corridors that we are working in order to give us some ecological characteristics to these corridors. And we have to connect these 4 corridors with every avenues in Cuenca, and we have to connect with every urban parks here in Cuenca. So we have to put trees on the pathways, on the avenues, on the small spaces across the city to do this connection, this urban green connection. About how we doing the monitoring of the trees. First of all, we visit all the spaces. We are working every month. So when we do the visits, obviously we can see all the species on the flowers are growing now. But we are working with a local university too, in order to buy some implements from Germany to monitoring the trees growing. We are working with Universidad Nacional de Loja in the south of Ecuador. This is the great university about forestry here in Ecuador, and they are trying to replicate here in Ecuador some of the techniques we can see in North America and the north of Europe, in Germany, for example. So we are trying to do that. But at the same time, we do the visits every month to these places, and we replace every plant that are there now.
So it's work in progress, clearly. So, but again, a lot of commitment, dedication, and knowledge to be improved on the ground there. Thanks, Nelson. Last question, and then we wrap up. To James from Jeremy Wall, concerning markets being the driving forces, timber cannot be the main market force driving urban forestry. Rather, it will be an environmental and social benefit. James?
Well, yes. Well, it's true that LoCoFoRest is not only about urban forest. So that is the first thing. So indeed, for urban forest, timber will not be a market driving force, but non-timber forest products might be and can be, and so that is the result of that. Is an example of that is Ouagadougou, where the products are for food, are Moise mentioned them already. Also, some fodder for animals, I understand. So those are the products that feed the market. The advantage of the green belt is that they are within the market. In the meantime, the city has grown that far that the city is now beyond the green belt. So the green belt is really within the market amongst the customers for the products that they can produce in the green belt, and as an obligation, they have to plant and maintain trees. So it's really about agroforestry.
Yeah. Great. I think that we had enough information displayed today. There might be a lot of more exchanges, but we will count with that because you know that you can reach out to us at any time. We can slowly, go towards the conclusion. And again, thanks a lot to the speakers, from Latin America to Africa, Europe in between. So thanks to Roberto, Nelson, James, Nyon, Cole, and thanks to my colleague Daniel. Key takeaways, we will finalize the outcomes, the good practices of the last webinar, and that will be posted on our website, as well as we will draw lessons learned from this very webinar, and we will also share accordingly with you. As next steps, we will let you know about the next topic and the next webinar over the next months, and staying tuned. Be aware about the fact that in the course of the work that we are developing for the coalition, we are finalizing two major documents. One is it's two guidances on integrating urban forestry into national plans and integrating urban forestry into national plans under Rio processes. We have had consultant working on them. Soon they will be released and shared with you. But also besides policy, we are building on the finances. We know that local governments not only are having constraints from policy restrictions, but also from finance restrictions. And we have opened up a financing stream together with banks like EIB, the World Bank, the EBRD, and we had a workshop with them, a webinar. I mean, we had a number of exchanges with them, and we are now working also on a finance policy brief. So soon will be released both the three policy briefs, guidances and policy briefs. We will keep you updated with the next webinar and peer exchanges. As you can see here from the QR, we will come up with this compendium of bankable projects and then the peer exchange on integrating into Rio plans. Daniel and Cole, if you want to come in for the last remarks.
Thank you, Stefania. I don't think either of us want to be the first because we both want to give each other the floor. But just from my side, a very big thanks. These were really, really exciting presentations. As Stefania said, really seeing the outcomes on the ground is so useful for us because so many cities are struggling to get resources. And what we see today is that with resources and with commitment and with capacity, it's really, we can do amazing things. It's possible. And I think that's the main message to take away from today's webinar for me. So thank you so much.
From impossible to possible, together, collectively. Thank you, Daniel. Cole?
I want to thank everyone for coming today and for speaking about such interesting topics that affect so many municipalities to governments around the world. I greatly appreciate the time and effort that you all put in. I'm excited for us to see what we're going to have in the next webinars for this year and on. Thank you so much, and I I greatly appreciate the time that you took. I certainly learned a lot, and we'll be bringing some questions to some of the individual speakers. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We showed today that environment does not have any borders because we put together continents, regions, cities, people. So thanks for that, and stay tuned with us. Thank you very much, and goodbye.